Are you trying to navigate this crazy thing called life? Well, you're in the right place. Welcome to Unraveling with Rayne.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that we don't have any video captured for this podcast recording, which is so sad because DJ Sworth is full of animations as he was describing his journey with us here in the studio. So to get the full effect, you'll have to go and look him up and mark your calendar for his next performance so that way you can capture all that is DJ Sworth. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoyed this recording.
Alright, so we are here with DJ Sworth, aka Alfie.
What's up, what's up?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm just drinking fluids and living through the winter.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
the rest of us here in the eastern part of the state, I guess. But
Right. Well, at least our winter hasn't been as bad as other winters.
this is true. It snowed a lot
Yeah.
last year. Like, dude, it was brutal last year, man.
Yeah.
I had just gotten a new car and not crashed it really, but like kind of fender bendered.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, cool. Thanks, winter. Appreciate it. But no, I'm good this year. I'm cool.
Okay,
Just drinking water and hanging. So.
Yeah,
Cool.
and your vehicle's in good condition?
Yes,
No fender benders this year?
I'm actually buying a new car.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm stoked. So
Oh, what kind of car?
that's a good question.
Oh, you don't know yet?
Dude, I think buying a car is just like a really stressful. It's weird because my last car I had for 12 years.
Really?
It's my first car.
Yeah.
People love that thing. Like, dude, your Nissan, man, I wish I had something as reliable as yours. And I don't know, man, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
It just keeps going. And so I had that car for 12 years, so I think finally almost the age of 30 and buying a car for the first time. So
Wow.
Thanks, Mom.
Nice. I know my husband's the same way. He still has his first car.
right? See?
Yep.
If there's nothing wrong, why buy another car?
Right? Totally.
Especially a car. But anyway, yeah, that's my life.
Very good. Very good. All right, so I have to talk about this moment that I first met you because it is one of those moments that has like stuck with me, and you'll have to give me your side of this interaction.
You know what's funny? I was just thinking that. Like, on the way here, I was kind of like, how the hell
Right?
how did I meet her?
Right?
But we've always bumped into each other.
Yes.
You know what I'm
see each
saying?
other
Like,
everywhere. So this is how this happened. So my friend and I, we did the Running Start program in CBC. And it was our first day on campus, and it was our first class, and we were doing this together, right?
Mhm.
And so we were super nervous, two young 16-year-olds in a college full of 20-somethings. And we walk into the class, and I'm just like, I don't know where to sit. And
do you remember what class it was?
I think it was like U.S. history.
It was probably history.
I think it was history because it was like an older professor, and he was super funny. I remember that, but I can't remember his name.
He was U.S. history, and he was like he looked like he used to be like what were those dudes in the 50s like Happy Days, like hey, like that, like an old school,
Totally.
but he's like old now.
Yeah, exactly.
I do remember that guy because
Yeah.
the first day of class he unwrapped, so he wore a white T-shirt
Mm-hmm.
and it looked like a pack of cigarettes in his shirt, but he like pulled it out. He like comes up to the camera. He's like, "Hey guys," and everyone's like, "Okay, who's this dude?" Like or whatever. Unravels it into a box of crowns.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
oh,
all right, dude, this dude's rad.
Sweet, right? So we walk into this class, and my friend, when she gets nervous, she is super outgoing. Like she just talks. And so it was a really great partnership for us at that time because I was super shy.
Yeah.
And we walk into this class, and she's like, "We're gonna go sit by him," and she points to you, and I was like, "Okay." And like at the time, you had this crazy hair and this really like
I did.
out there outfit. I loved it, but I didn't know what to expect, So
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, we'll do that." And so we go and we sit down, and she's just like, "Hi, I'm Melissa," and I was like, "Hi, I'm Rayne," and you're like, "Hey, I'm Alfie," and you're like super like chill, and I was like, "Okay."
It's probably because I was like, oh god, like super scared and nervous. I was probably so
We're
like,
all nervous
hey.
in this situation.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so funny. Like I was probably, you were 16.
Yeah,
I think I was like 18.
probably. Yeah.
But I wasn't like college student level yet.
Yeah.
I was kind of shoved into that program.
Were you?
Not like, I mean, not in a bad way. I think it's cool, you know, because I got college education while in high school, which is awesome.
That was
But
cool.
still, like, when you're in a classroom full of every age demographic, it's like, it's hard. It's tough, you know what I mean? You're not with a bunch of 17-year-old, you know, hormonal douchebags, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, that's wow. I didn't even, like, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
That's
like,
so funny.
And it was, I don't know, and I think that the main thing that I took away from that program too was like, it was really cool to get credits and all, but I kind of sort of missed that I missed out on half of my high school career. I don't know how you feel about that.
You know, I was pretty chill with doing that, like, because I actually grew up an Army brat, right? Mm-hmm. So I moved around so much, dude.
Ooh.
Like,
what was that like?
Well, it's cool.
I went to the same school from kindergarten all the way up, so you're gonna have to fill me in on what that is like.
Like K through 8th?
Yeah, like.
And then high school.
Yeah,
and then CBC.
I went to CBC.
It's pretty rough, dude. That's pretty. No, but that's cool. That's good. The funny thing about kids who did, like, I knew a lot of like Christ the King kids, and they usually were the kids who like got in the most trouble.
Sure.
Because they were like, oh wow, this is like a new environment. There's older kids. What's happening, and then they like make the stupidest decisions, like, you know what I mean? Or you can like be really cool, really chill in your case, you know what I mean? You didn't go off the rails, you know?
Not too far anyway, you know?
But no, I grew up an Army brat, man. I moved around a lot, and I think that's why I'm so like extroverted, which sounds like a stupid word to you. No, I'm such an extrovert. It's not true. I mean, look, dude, I think it's cool because like I was just talking to somebody else earlier about being like, you know, open-minded with people, and like, I don't know, I was a Sesame Street kid, like, you know what I'm saying, like a 90s kid, so I like being open and talking to people and outgoing, and I think that kind of was a good experience for me going to a program like CBC, like the Running Start, and also moving around a bunch. Like, you just stayed here, and one school, knew all your friends, and like,
it's hard to break out of that. It's super hard. Yeah, because you get your niche and you got your group and you're like, I'm comfortable here, and then like you're shoved into the real world and you're like, what do I do now?
And which is, but I mean, I guess it depends on the school, right? It's like, do they have you locked in? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's like education good, but that's a whole other like story.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, that's so funny. Wow, I totally forgot like just how we met and everything. That's
right.
It's kind of interesting.
Right. I mean, like, I don't know. I think that whole experience was CBC Running Star was it was good. It was bad, but it was good.
It was good.
It was bad.
I think that's everyone's like, dude, did you hear they're doing dorms at CBC now?
What?
Yeah, it's a
really?
thing. Yeah.
Well, I guess the campus has grown so much. Like, have you seen all of the new buildings? I haven't actually like been there, but
It's like driving past your high school. Like, nobody wants to drive. You know, that's one thing I kind of hate about living in town where I went to school, and it always breaks like people's hearts who are like live in Seattle or like Portland or whatever, and they're like, how can you live by, you know, they drive past it, they drive away from it, they see like Richland High and they immediately drive the opposite way. You know what I mean? It is kind of
dorms though.
What was that?
Dorms though?
Over at CBC.
Oh, that's crazy.
Thanks America. But yeah, man, that's crazy.
Right on. So fill me in. What's happened since then? I know that we've bumped into each other at a couple different places, but
I ended up graduating, you know, from high school, did the CBC thing, and then I was like, man, what am I gonna do? What's up? You know, I think my aunt and uncle adopted me here in Tri-Cities, So, and they're super cool. Like, even to this day, like, we're close. We're super tight. Like, they're rad as shit, dude.
That's awesome.
And I kind of was like this like state where I was like, I need to like take a leap and just go. So I moved to New York. Like the most ballsy thing you could do.
Just leave the Tri-Cities and just
out of all places, right? It's like I got an aunt who lives in upstate, so I lived in upstate for a little bit. Kind of did that for a while.
What was that experience?
It was cool. It's so fast paced there. Like, people are like grumpier.
I'm sure.
Yeah, like Pacific Northwest, people are like, "Hey, what's going on? Woo, chai tea lattes," and like, or like, what, Evergreen, what, Seattle, like New York, so just like get out of my way. Like,
I got stuff to do.
Not everyone, but like if you're not at that pace or that level, or you have some experience living, because East Coast versus West Coast is like I know it sounds lame. It sounds very like Rap Wars, but like, but it's true, man. The mentality is way different, you know. And it took me a while to get used to. I was there for 2.5, 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you had a little bit of time to settle in there.
Mm-hmm. And it was interesting because I met a girl. She lived in Queens, and I moved in with her. I was working. I had the weirdest jobs, dude. So I was working at Starbucks, right? Okay. Because I've been in coffee for years. So like coffee's always.
We're definitely gonna have to spend some time talking about coffee.
Coffee. Yes. This podcast will be like 3 hours.
So,
but no. So I worked at Starbucks, and then when you're in New York, you constantly drown because it's so expensive there.
Oh yeah.
You know what like even people who have their masters and I mean, dude, it's tough. Like for anybody. Yeah. And for me, being like, you know, junior college graduate right out of high school, like my eyes were just like open, bright, like floating to the lights. You know what I mean? Like, oh my gosh, this place is so cool. I hadn't hit 21 yet. I was pretty young. Like, I mean, so yeah, you know, there's limitations. I'm not saying you have to be 21 to be able to go out or go to venues or anything like that and meet people, but it definitely helps. You know, nowadays, you know, if I was, you know, single and, you know, looking to meet new people, it definitely helps to be at a bar or something like that to meet new people, but not necessary. But that being said, I had a Starbucks job, and then I was like, man, I gotta get another job. So I got hired in Times Square, which is on right in the smack middle of Manhattan, 42nd, and I got hired at the MTV store as like a greeter. Like you just stand there for like 6-7 hours, but the cool thing is it's just new people flooding in. Like you never see the same person twice.
That's true.
But it's everybody, dude. It's like everybody from Tokyo, from Greece. Like it doesn't matter. It was pretty cool. Awesome. But that like sucks the soul out of you. Yeah. But why do you say that? I think because there's so many people, millions and millions of people on that one island of Manhattan, that like you're almost faceless. It's like you know what? Like it makes sense. Think about it. There's so many people. Like you probably look like somebody else who just walked by. Sure. You know what I'm saying?
I guess that'd be such an odd feeling because I actually grew up out in Burbank, like small towns, but like everybody knows everybody. So I can't imagine being in a place where it's just like.
Which is cool though too, because like, no, I like that though.
The small town or the big city?
I like the small town because there's a sense of community. You know what I'm saying? Like
definitely, there's a huge sense of community.
And like people know you and like. Which is good and bad, right? So if you're a person who likes to get in trouble, like people will know.
You have to be on the up and up.
That's what you know what I'm saying. And in recent years, I've been discovering so many things about myself, and just like, okay, what are my habits? What are the good habits? What are the bad habits? Like, all right, well, let's recognize the bad habits, and let's work on these things. Let's amplify these others. Sure. You know what I mean?
Lean into your strong while you build the other ones.
100%. And it only took me years to figure that out. You know.
Only.
Yeah. Oh no. 100%, dude. Like I never finished college. I mean, besides that AA degree, which is worth like this fuzzy ball. That's what you know. What I'm saying.
I think it seriously got me maybe 25 cents more hired somewhere because I had a degree.
Exactly. You know, it's equivalent to what a high school diploma used to be. So I mean, that's a whole other story. But you know, I'm super lucky to be passionate about something like DJing and find it. Yeah.
So when did you stumble across DJing?
So I've always played music. I've always played guitar, bands. It was a little tough moving around though. You're never, because the thing with bands, you got to be around, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? But moving around, like I had an interest in skateboarding when I was about 11 or 12. And that culture, that kind of skateboard, like kind of pop punk at that time, because this was like early 2000s,
right,
late 90s, and like pop punk was like really coming up. So you kind of, and then skateboarding was kind of around. And you're like, what's this? So then it was like a mixture of skateboarding and then music culture, and kind of punk, I guess you could say. Not real punk. I mean, the true punks would hate you. Right. They were just like, no.
Think so.
But skateboarding was so cool, and I was so passionate about it. Yeah. Even if I was a kid, I knew that like it was kind of a toy, and but now it's not.
I was gonna say.
Dude, now it's like a completely different. It's a culture, man.
Yeah,
like
it really is.
It's insane. So that was forming. A couple years goes by, and then picking up a guitar and just playing like just for hours, just sitting, just. I mean, dude, you have to practice that. Like anything else, you have to sit there and just suck for a long time. You have to suck at anything for a long time to get good, right?
Sure.
And I did. I was playing, and then bands here and there, but you're so young at the time, and like military homes, what you call on post or on base, like military bases, you just say, oh, hey, it's on post or whatever. So you can't really make that much noise. Like, you can't, because there's so many housing developments that are so close together. Yes. So you can't just, like, rage with a drum set or, So that was always tough, you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And then I moved to Tri-Cities and was kind of figuring things out. I was kind of a troubled teen a little bit. Just kind of, parents were splitting.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? My parents were kind of going through some stuff, which is like, everyone has their stuff, bro.
Sure.
Like, bro, come on.
We all have.
Like, dude, I'm not complaining, but I'm just kind of stating these facts. But like,
sure. So do you think that kind of picking up music at that time in your life was beneficial?
Yeah, I was always around music.
Time?
Yeah, my parents were super young when they had me, and so being a young kid while my mom was living through her 20s, she always had music on.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was cassettes and CDs.
Right.
But like CDs were coming out, because I was born in '87.
Yeah.
And like cassettes were like the cool thing now. I remember my parents had like a giant like tower of cassettes. Nice. And like that was a cool thing. I was like, don't touch the cassette, put it back.
Right.
Put it back. I would be so bad. I'd take the cassette out, like leave it, or it'd unravel.
Oh no.
Hey, tie-in.
There you go.
No, but like. But no, so anyway, so, there'd be music everywhere. I mean, and vinyl, though, at that time, like, vinyl wasn't, it's kind of funny because it's come full circle, right? So, like,
I was going to say, vinyl is really popular now.
Super popular. My parents had a record player, but, like, they weren't super into it. They weren't like, don't touch it. Like, they're like, it's a record player, dude. They had, if I can remember what albums they had, my mom was super into the Doors. Nice. So she had, Waiting in the Sun album by the Doors on vinyl. That's something I distinctly remember. It's like, that was so cool to me.
That was the one.
Because like the Doors, that was always around.
Yeah.
My mom listened to that. She listened to like 90s R&B. Because that was like the cool thing. So like TLC was popping up. Like In Vogue. Like, what's another one? Who's, let's see, Salt and Pepper. Like all those. Cause she was like, Queen Latifah had an album for a while. And, like, that was a cool jam. Yeah. And my dad had, like, a weird taste in music. So he would, like, throw on... weird? He would put on, like, Tupac. Right? Okay, cool. That's awesome. Right. Yeah. And all of a sudden, it'd be, like, Striper. Oh. Which is, like 80s hair metal. Band.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's, like...
He was kind of across the board.
He was. But it was weird. So, yeah, you would have, like, the Doors, like, classic rock playing. And then, like, R&B. And then some hip-hop. And so... Right. Which was cool. I was always attracted to, like, bands, though, It's kind of funny that I DJ now.
I was going to say, wouldn't you find yourself in a band then?
Yeah, and that's the thing, is, like, it's full circle, like I said before. Like, you have to commit. Like, other people have to commit. It's all about friendship. It's all about bonds. Right. And I think that moving around so much kind of gave me an advantage, but also a disadvantage with not being able to, like, maybe stick around. Maybe there's some sort of, like, disconnect of, like, oh, okay, it's been a year or 2 years with this band, like, or am I going to put more effort, or these guys can put more effort into it? Like, there has to be a brotherhood of some sort, you know what I mean?
I would assume that's really hard to find. Like,
dude, it's super.
You have to have a group of people that are so committed to something.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, just showing up. That's the hardest part.
Right.
Hey, guys, 6 o'clock. Like, we'd have band rehearsal. 6 o'clock, you have the drummer shows up at 7. You have, 15 minutes late, 20 minutes late, dude. Like, you know what I mean? So that takes a toll, like, with me. Like, if I'm in it, I get so frustrated with people. Like, hey, dude, if you're going to show up, dude.
Right.
Like,
this is my commitment level. I need you up here with me. Is it kind of one of those things?
Yeah. Which is, like, of course, there's ways to do that. Filter people out, bring people who care in. Yeah. But the type of music that I was wanting to play was was like a very like passing subgenre of music.
Okay.
So like I listened to all these things growing up.
Right.
But in like middle school and like once high school hit, like like music as far as like the alternative rock kind of genre starting to change a little bit. So you had a lot of bands that were doing this like screaming thing, dude.
Yeah.
It was like hard singing screamo stuff.
I
dude.
had so many friends that were in like these scream like punk mix bands, and I'm
yeah.
like, ooh,
It's like a mix between metal, guitar riffs, like singing, melodic singing every once in a while, and then like screaming in between that.
Yep.
So you had bands like influences by like the Smiths, like even like maybe a little bit of the Clash, but like taking roots from metal music that is very like chugs, like you know.
A lot of them would have a dedicated screamer though. Like some of them would have like the melodic, like you said, that melodic side, and then just the screamer. And I was whoa.
But the cool thing was, like, even though that genre of music's not happening anymore, it's not. Like, you can go and find a venue somewhere in the city, right? And I'm sure there's some sort of screamo band or metal band, right?
Sure, yeah.
And like metal is pretty, like, metal music just in genre, not just like a screamo. Metal is huge though too.
Say, but my husband, that's all. Well, he listens to a lot of things, but metal is his like home. And there's so many subgenres though. Like
it's insane.
He's like, no, that's not this metal type. It's blah blah blah. And I'm like, how many are there?
That's what I'm saying. It's insane.
Like, how do you keep track of all those?
Which is awesome. But the thing that I was attracted to the most was, even though it was crazy, these dudes energy. It was energy that I was attracted to. Right. Like, wow, these dudes are really. They're literally screaming their lungs out to like
veins popping, red face. Yes.
Even though that's what people do in that genre, like that's passion for me. Like you're in it.
Yeah.
And like to get things off my mind, I listen to music, right? So a lot of these bands, they would sing about real shit, like you know, hey dude, I'm it's true emo fashion, like which is like it sounds cheesy. But, dude, like, music comes from your heart, right? I mean, whether you're frustrated, angry, sad, mad, fed up, or whatever, like, that's how music really gets.
Right.
To me, at least, right? To most people.
Yeah.
And so, seeing these dudes tear it up on stage, like, what is going on, right? I went to my first show at this place called Hell's Kitchen in Tacoma. And, like, maybe 4 or 5 bands played. Couple locals, and then like a couple of Seattle bands, right? These dudes tore it up. Like my mind was blown.
I want in on that.
That's what I'm saying. I was like 14 or something, maybe.
Oh, really? So you're younger?
Yeah, I was I was 14. Like I just hit freshman year.
At that time, yeah.
And it was like, I wasn't here yet. Yeah, I wasn't in Tri-Cities yet. Only a couple years later I was gonna move here, but like I saw these dudes ripping it up on stage. Like, I mean, like. Throwing guitars, getting in the audience's face and screaming, like that's cool. And I've carried that like passion with me in DJing, you know, but it's channeled through a different way. Okay. So like instead of being all crazy, because that's what I used to do, dude. I used to be crazy on stage too. Like, I used to play synth for a band, and as a synth player, I would tear it up, man. I would just like. You know, it sounds like really stupid. No, dude. But like, dude, we would go and play all the Battle of the Bands, and like those poor bands, they're all young kids. Like, you know, we just go in there and win them all. Like, but no. So that energy, like, I channel it different now, right? So like, if I'm DJing now, I channel it with being focused and being able to read a crowd good. Sure. And practicing, like that's passion. It's practicing, like behind the scenes prep. Like that's what DJing's all about. Like with your stuff, like podcasting's all prep. Yes. Audio prep. Yes. Hey, like your sheet, boom, DJ Sworth interview. So like that's same here. Like I got to practice like scratches. Practice, you know, a vibe. Listen to the song. That's super important. Yeah. Listening to the music, knowing your stuff, like. Sure. And that's the crazy thing about DJing. Like now, that's why eventually, like, it says DJ Sworth. Yeah. Eventually, like, I kind of just want it to be Sworth because I mean, I'm a DJ. I have to have that, you know.
But at some point, I think, you might look at keep dropping that.
And that's the thing, because DJing as a whole, for example, it's changed, right? So, for example, I just did a gig, and which was a cool gig, awesome. It was like this giant Christmas party for a big company.
Nice.
And people don't know DJing if they're not in it. If they don't know anybody who's DJs or has DJed, they don't know anything about it.
Sure.
You kind of categorize it almost into like a very broad spectrum of like VJs, DJs, and like karaoke dudes.
Yeah.
Like it's all like to them, they don't know.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these guys coming up like, hey, can you play like Don't Stop Believing, and do you have a mic so I can sing? And I'm like, yo, this isn't karaoke. Like, this isn't Lee's. You know what I'm saying? Like, on a Saturday night, like, no one's getting turned up right now. Like,
right.
All right. Which I was cool. I was being chill. Like, all right, I'll play Journey. Like, people, like, the demographic there would just, they love that. Oh, love that song. So, boom, cut it in, you know, microphone. But then it started turning into, like, karaoke kind of vibe. And that's the thing. That's kind of why I almost want to drop the DJ thing.
Yeah.
Because
I bet it's hard as an artist, though, because you're like, I'm trying to do my thing here, you know?
It's tough, and that's that's kind of a blurred, like, term right now.
Yeah.
Like, artist, because a lot of people will not consider you as an artist if you're a DJ.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, essentially, if you're a DJ, right, like, there's so many different, okay, so old school DJs, like, hip-hop DJs, when they were coming up, right? Like, Grandmaster Flash, dude, like, for instance, that guy, like, he would take breaks, right? Because there wasn't DJing. Like, DJing didn't exist in, like, the mid to late 70s.
Right.
Like, they would bring out turntables and have a sidewalk party, like, out in Brooklyn or something, right? Like, it's in the middle of summer. People want to dance. And then, like, and rapping wasn't even a thing yet. Like, until, say, Sugar Hill Gang kind of came up and really kind of popularized it. I mean, there's a lot of other there's a lot of other like groups I'm sure I'm missing, but like those are the main ones you think of, right?
Right.
Like Rapper's Delight, like that.
Yep.
That's
everybody
like
thinks of that one.
that's what I'm saying. That was some Soul Train shit, dude.
Yes.
Like, but this is stuff that I figured out and that I had to educate myself on, right? The history of all this, because with DJing, if I didn't know the history of what the hell I'm doing, like, what's the point?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that'd be like me, you know, picking up the guitar when I was 14 and then, like, trying to go get gigs.
Yeah.
Like, like, what are you doing?
So you feel like it's important as an artist to know the history of what you're doing?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, even if you're a singer, man, like, if you naturally have a good voice, like, maybe know how you're using it, right? You know what I mean? Like, respect it, like, that humbleness.
Sure.
Like, being humble, you know?
Yeah.
Whenever I think of, like, not being humble, I think of, like, Bieber or something.
Yeah.
You know, I just think of that dude. For some reason, he pops in my head.
Boom, right there.
Like, boom, like, mugshot, Bieber shot, boom. That's what I think of. So I like being humble because DJs have almost a bad reputation of being super cocky, arrogant. I know what I'm talking about. Like, sound guys don't like DJs most of the time.
No.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like, people who, like, for instance, like, the Gorge will, like, throw a big event like Sasquatch or something, right?
Right.
And they'll hire a company to do all of the sounds, so, like, to run it. Like, okay, front of house guy with this giant mixer, he's control everything. Like, when DJs come up, like, they're like, no, dude. They literally have machines now that prevents the DJ from, like, just blowing out the system. Like,
really?
they have stuff.
So how do you navigate that? Like, who has control then? Like,
that's the thing.
How do you do that?
Well, it's like technology at this point. You can they're called limiters, where you can, like, make sure, like, the digital sound cannot, or the audio sound really can't go any higher than what the guy at the front of house guy, like, you know what I'm saying? So you have the DJ up on stage, and the DJ's like, and he's like, and he just turns the volume to like 11, right?
Yeah.
Right? What's the movie I'm thinking of?
Yes, I know.
What's the movie?
What is it?
No, we're not Wayne's World.
Spinal
Tap.
Take it to 11, yeah.
Spinal Tap. It's like that dude, right?
Yeah.
Take it to 11. That's what most DJs do.
Yeah.
So, sound guys even, like, think, like, nah, dude, like,
we're not going there.
Like, but DJs are not. especially like a lot of the DJs who don't use turntables per se, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those like EDM dudes, or like they like trap music, and you know, those dudes turn it up, which is cool.
Sure.
Because a lot of those songs, though, the way they're produced, they're so high volume. Like all like remixed songs are insane.
Yeah.
Chainsmokers or whatever they are.
Right.
A Skrillex song or Diplo.
Yes.
When you look at those audio files, they're so loud, dude. Like I have to like turn it down when I play. You know, just the levels are weird.
Yeah. So is that like a conversation you have to have with the sound guy before you go on?
It depends. Yeah. Like if as for instance, when's the last time I did a gig with a sound guy? I did a Halloween bash for the Dick Danger Productions guys. They do it every year. They're actually doing their New Year's party on Sunday. They do it every year, right? So they try to throw the biggest party in Tri-Cities, which is cool. Like it's kind of cliche to say like biggest party in Tri-Cities. Tri-Cities, like what? How big can it be? But at the same time, they really do take investment money, throw it in, get good sound, lighting, equipment, promotion, good bartenders, yada yada, the whole shebang, and set everyone up right. So the last gig I did was with the sound guy there, and you really have to be cool. Yeah. Like as a DJ, you can't just walk in with your stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
doing it like this.
Yeah, because they're like, nah, dude. Like, bro, like you don't know anything. You know, so you have, but you
walk in with a give and take kind of attitude.
Yeah, and so now, but that's the thing, dude. Just trying to be humble and thankful. Like I said earlier, like dropped out of school, didn't know what I want to do. I had the worst jobs. Like it was I had worked at a movie theater for a while.
Ooh, I hear that's not.
Dude, it's like I was just not happy, man. Yeah. Like the band thing wasn't working out. Yeah. You know, my social life wasn't really good. Yeah. You know, it's not. You know.
So is that what like solidified the move towards DJing?
Yeah, like
is that kind of.
And you know, one thing too, being a young adult, being like 22, 23 at the time. Well, 20 to like 23, 24. Yeah. It's when you have no guidance, really. Like, it depends, right? Like, there's a lot of kids who stay at home.
Yeah.
For a while, at least, right? Like, okay, so like, mom, dad, I'm going to WSU, right? So, like, when I come back, a lot of people do it. Like, you'd be surprised a lot of kids do that. Not everyone.
But I'd say the percentage is pretty high, yeah.
Yeah, like, we're coming back Tri-Cities. Like, okay, cool. Like, live at my spot. All right, cool. Mom and dad, sweet. Or, like, aunt and uncle, whoever.
Sure.
You know, I just was independent. I just did what I did. You know what I mean? Like, you know, oh, I love this freedom. Yes!
Right.
You know, and I think that probably stems from being in a military family.
Sure.
Where my dad, like, shaved my head, like, every year. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that, like, I was, like, in a dungeon or anything like that. Like,
but it was strict.
Very super, like, militaristic. Like, take out the trash now, you know, and, like, you gotta get good grades, and, you know, and that probably stems from that, you know what I mean?
So did you take full advantage of it once you're out on your own?
Oh,
like,
I was 100%.
Go.
I was 100% taking advantage of it. I mean, I was meeting new people and meeting girls and drinking alcohol, which is, it's just such an unhealthy environment that we create for ourselves. You know, you gotta watch out with stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I'm very fortunate to, like, be where I'm at and figure out, like, oh, hey, this is the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, you can't party all the time, which is ironic that I'm a DJ now.
I was gonna say, 'cause you're in the party realm all the time.
But the thing about DJing is, I don't, like, get wasted up. I have a drink or two while I DJ. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, a lot of people want to try to say, oh, I'm alcohol free when I DJ. I think that's great. With me, I have a drink. There's nothing wrong with having a drink or two.
Yeah.
You know, I learned my first mistake that you learn as a DJ. You don't overdrink. And that happened to me a couple of years ago.
No.
Yeah, you learn that lesson once. That's it. You learn it
one time.
Because what happens is you start losing your skill.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other story.
I was going to say, you start losing a lot of things once you get too
far
off.
Exactly.
But I can imagine having to then get up and perform and do my thing when I've got too many drinks in my belt.
Yeah, you know what? You just got to learn the lesson the hard way. For me, I learned the lesson the hard way.
Well, that's how they stick with you.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. where I've gotten for sure, but no. So how I found DJing, I guess. Well, I've been actively DJing out, not just bedroom status, for about 6.5, 7 years. Almost gonna be 7 years soon.
Nice.
And I was playing in a band here. Actually, I was playing guitar in a band called it's like the worst name. We were called, no joke, this is a funny thing. We were called Sincerely, space you. So Sincerely You, like the most emo.
That is pretty emo.
Just super emo. Especially here in Tri-Cities, we're probably about 5 years late anyway on that.
Yeah.
But it was something to do. I needed to occupy my time. You know what I mean? I was like not in a good place at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, ugh. I had just, I was with a girl for about 5 years. We had broken up. It's just, like you're in your weird kind of funk, in transitional.
Transition. Yeah. It was transition time for sure.
And then like I was in that band for a while, probably a year maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd gone up to Spokane, recorded a couple songs, and kind of serious about it. The genre was dead though. Like, let's be real, the genre was pretty dead. Like Screamo was done.
Yeah.
And
what year was that?
2011.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
Screamo was done.
Yeah.
So, and funny thing is, how I got interested in DJing is kind of a funny story. Back in 2009, I was at the pub, this bar over in Kennewick called the Pub, and playing pool with a buddy, hanging out. Actually, my roommate, we lived down the street. We just walk there, hang out, play pool.
Yeah.
Kind of BS,
Sure.
And this dude, and most people there, you kind of, like the crowd there is, let's just say the crowd there is not going to be like, what's up, buddy? Hey, woo!
Yeah.
I'm not saying people are unfriendly there, but like guys kind of have the shield, right? Because
I love how you do that with your, it's
but it's true.
You're in a box.
But
like,
it's
this
true.
Is my space.
No, it's for sure. Like,
I might not even look at you because this is my.
But it's kind of true, right?
Yeah.
So this dude, he comes up, he goes, "Hey man, can I join you guys?" And I was like, "That's cool, me, dude, bro. Like, come in, like, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Play some pool, So, all right, cool. Well, let's queue up and who wants a break or whatever." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And I'm not a pool player, so I'm just like, I honestly don't care. You can do whatever you want,
right?
like, and so we're talking. He's like, "Yeah, I just moved here from South Carolina, and I don't know anybody." And I was like, "Oh, that's chill, bro. It's all good, cool."
Yeah.
We end up hanging out. Cool dude. He's like, "Hey, next week I'm having a party. I'm DJing actually." And I was like, "DJing, bro? Okay. I've never met a DJ before. That's a little weird. I guess this is cool. Let's check it out." And I knew what DJing was, right? Sure. To a very small spectrum. Like I didn't know that turntables and vinyl and bringing it all in and mixing and scratching. I didn't know any of that, at all. Like I had no experience in that. My closest relevance to DJing was I listened to this group called Justice, and they were like a French electronic duo.
I've never heard of them.
They're kind of like what Daft Punk is. Like they want to be Daft Punk.
Okay.
But Daft Punk's at like this. I mean, Daft Punk's Daft Punk. They're like at this huge level.
Sure.
Like nobody, you can't even point them out on the street. That's how crazy cool that is.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Right.
So, kind of harder though. Not so like one more time, gotta say, like not so happy. Like it was a little bit harder.
Okay.
And they put on a good show. So that was like the only like exposure to DJing that I had.
Okay.
Were these two dudes, right? That would smoke on stage and like all like leather jackets, and they were like stylish and cool as shit.
Yeah.
Like with like little mixers and like thick, no vinyl. You don't see turntables up there.
Right.
Just like electronic shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's cool. It's DJing.
Yeah.
That must be DJing.
So is this guy not like that?
No. This dude had turntables. So we show up to this party somewhere in Kennewick, right? Nice, cool, big house. Nice neighborhood, like 3 levels. We show up to this party. And it was like, you don't really see parties like that here, right? So show up and you can hear the music. There's like cars everywhere. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens.
Sure.
Go, and there's like 3 levels. There's like an upstairs and then a downstairs. When you go downstairs, it's a big open area. They had like a built-in bar. What? To this day, I don't know whose place this was. Like, so the mystery person, right? And he had his speaker set up and his on a table. He had.
They were ready, man.
Yeah, He had his turntable, he had a 2-channel mixer, and another turntable. And then he had like a 17-inch like MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
And I was like, walking, and it was crazy. Like, people were cool. People were inside, hanging out, drinking wine, and there was, you know, and it wasn't like an immature party, like where you go and people are like, "What's up, bro?"
Like totally sloshed.
Yeah, kegged out, man.
Wait, was there beer pong?
There was none of that.
See, then
no.
It is very classy.
It was
very classy.
Let's just say yes, it was. It's kind of sad, like how classy was it, really?
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 of our 2-part episode with DJ Sworth. Be sure to tune in next Monday to find out what happens with this crazy party that he stumbled across and dives into DJing and also his role in the coffee biz.
And that concludes our Unraveling with DJ Sworth. He has made it very easy to keep up with him. You can find him at djsworth.com or on Facebook at DJ Sworth. Also on Instagram at DJ Sworth. Thank you all so much for listening. If you would like to help support Unraveling with Rayne, go to patreon.com/unravelingwithrayne. When you become a patron, you receive bonus content such as behind-the-scenes footage, along with other special content that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Music for Unraveling with Rayne was provided by Barefoot Randy. Studio space was provided by Moody Logic.